Hello and welcome to the Cellar. So in this video we'll take another tour of the Cellar, 5.5 years after the first one. A lot have changed since then, and I feel I'm at 50% of the renovation work. Just a gut feeling mainly, but I thought it was a good milestone to make another tour and see what changed from then. So I'll try to add as much information I can about the Cellar, and I'll link to the parts of the project I'm showing. And hopefully the next tour won't be 5 years from now, and it will be with a finished workshop. The first major change since the last tour is of course the entrance, with our new door and our new trapdoor to enter the cellar. So I elected to keep a trapdoor in front of the door in order to pass through big pieces, long pieces, and it's already proven useful. And what we wanted is to have the entrance to the cellar not in front of the main door, so it's more safe. Let's open the cellar now. It's much more easy to do. When I'm by myself, I generally only open half of the board, and it's enough to go through. So we can see the new concrete slab and the new opening, and also, big difference, the new aluminum stairs. So yeah, a big change in here. There are still a lot of work to do. We need to redo this cupboard. And a bit of, yeah, it's still a work to do, but it's ongoing, and we'll have also something on the floor and maybe the same thing on the board, so it should be more pretty. So let's go into the cellar. One of the first geeky thing to note is my light. So this is a switch that allows the light of the cellar to turn on and off when there is a board on it. So simple limit switch with a 3D printed enclosure. And what we'll see a bit more later, it's controlled by the board, but I can also control it independently. So we'll go a bit deep. So thing to note, this is the entrance for all the new air into the cellar. That's from the street. What's new? We have water into the cellar, so the T connection is new. I have now running water in the cellar. And we can see the underneath of the concrete slab, which is much more sturdier than the last one. And here we are into the main cellar 5.5 years later. Quite a lot have changed, but some of the things are still there, of course. The walls need to be done. And there is still a lot of work to do. So let's take a look on this side. So the water, which is really useful for the mortar. So I had them put the main water to the side. It was a bit in the middle of the wall, which was an issue with the trap to make things pass through. And yeah, water. Yeah, this is new, my mixer, mortar mixer. And we will look at the under cellar first, which was a discovery during the initial work. And I have, of course, kept a way to go into there. Oh! With one hand is quite difficult. Oh! Okay, so sorry for that. I was a bit taken aback. This quantity of humidity is not usually like that. What happened is I tried to film a video last week and I forgot to plug my ventilation back. So that's the issue, but it's good entertainment and it's a very good example of the humidity I have in the under cellar and the need for my ventilation. Yeah, so as you can see, it's very, very, very humid in here. And my ventilation is right here, and it was turned off for 4 or 5 days, something like that. Yeah, that's all it takes. So yeah, so this is an under cellar, which was rather typical in this area, in our city, just to have more space. They were used to store grain, and also they could be used to travel into other places from cellar to cellar. So we have a shaft in here, dug into the rock directly, and we can see the tool marks. And it makes it really difficult to date because they used the same tool from the Middle Ages to the much later. And underneath the shaft we have a round chamber, which is chest high, and all the dirt, I think, was added later. All of that is mine. It's my refuse from the cellar. And here we have a tunnel that went farther into other places, I guess, but it has been filled up from above. And yeah, this huge pile of dirt is my refuse from the cellar. There was a bit before, but yeah, I'm using this place right now for that. I don't have plans for the under cellar, just because of the humidity and yeah, and also if I wanted to do something with it, I would have to remove all this, which goes for about 1 meter or more at least. So it's not really in my agenda right now. So I have some fresh air that comes from this pipe, this hose, so that there is a flow of air circulating when my ventilation is working, of course. And yeah, so I get new air pumped in here and it's taken on top. It's quite comfortable in here. The temperature is always really stable, around 15 degrees. But it's a bit oppressing with the humidity. And also in here we have a lot of radon. So let's stay at the high part of the cellar and we'll take a look at this area also. So this is a crawl space I kept during the work of the floor. I had to, unfortunately, raise the level. So we have rocks that are at the limit of the concrete at the entrance. But then the natural floor is sloping down. So yeah, so the level of this floor is higher than it was originally. So that's why we have a big step in here. So instead of just pouring concrete all over the original floor, I elected to have a floating floor, and so I can have a crawl space underneath. Let me get a ladder and we'll take a look. So the trapdoor are 80 by 80 centimeters. Okay, so here we are. This is my eye chest level. And here we have the crawl space. So it's built upon I-beams and those steel plates, stamped plates. And above that, there is a concrete slab with reinforcement, of course. And that's the construction. So I chose that because it allows to keep most of the original cellar in its state. So yeah, so all of that is rock. So I excavated the cellar towards the rock level. I removed all of the dirt, and when I found that, which is a real strange shape, I realized I couldn't do anything with it without building something on top of it. So I use the crawl space to vent most of the humidity and the radon that are coming from the ground. And this is my cheap VMC that was unplugged, unfortunately. So it's taking air from the under cellar and also from the back with this pipe in here on the back of the crawl space. Again, so I have a circulating air, so I'm taking fresh air from the trapdoor, and it's getting towards the back and also underneath in here. Right now I have a system that works decently enough. I will show you some measurement later. So I keep some stones, and that's all. I try not to put too much dirt in here, not like in the under cellar. And maybe someday I will clean it up a bit. So now we have the second part of the cellar, which is lower, and I have made some steps here. Those are really temporary. I don't know where I will be leaving them at the end, maybe more in the middle. So this is my dehumidifier, which I need, unfortunately. I would love to get rid of it and rely only on fans, but for now it's a bit too much of humidity just for the fans. And so for it to work continuously, I have this tank. So the dehumidifier is pouring its water into the bin, and I have a sump pump into there that goes all the way up to here and gets rid of the excess water. And so this system has been working quite well for 2 years now, and I had only one overfill, but it's quite reliable. Yeah, so I have been moving all of my stuff into the back because I just finished the ceiling. So I coated the whole ceiling. That's why all of my stuff are a bit cramped into the back. So let's take a look at the poop cellar. So this was used for years and years and years before we bought the house as a place to put all of the used water of the house into there. So I discovered that. I had it cleaned, and then I started renovating it. I made a new floor into here, a floor into there, and I redid all of the joints. We can see now that there is some disorders, humidity disorders. After 2 years, there is a lot of those kind of stuff growing on the stones. So I suspect it's saltpeter, but I'm not entirely sure. And if anybody has tips about those kind of humidity issues into the cellar, I would be glad. So the problem in here is that we are underneath the street at this point. This area of the cellar, this part is technically not mine. It's on the city property, and this is mine. So I renovated everything nonetheless. But yeah, we have some humidity coming from the street above, as you can see. So I made this recently, which is really pretty. No, it's ugly. And but sometimes there is so much humidity on the floor above that it's raining. You can see some drops. It's raining a bit everywhere in here, and that's what's causing the disorders. So yeah, I'm trying to vent. I vent as much as I can. So this is taking the air at the farthest point, and we'll see where it goes. And yeah, so that's a bit of a shame. So I know that there's probably a leak into the sewers. That's adding to the water that comes in here. So I'm in discussion with the city for that, and I hope that it can be resolved at some point, because it makes the winter's months a bit difficult in here. So that's the second source of humidity I have in the cellar. That's not too surprising. I have humidity problem at the street side here, and also on the street side in here, at the two ends of the cellar. So I discovered also that underneath the stairs there was kind of a cupboard. So all of the stairs are renovated now. So I am done with the back of the cellar, I'm done with the ceiling of the cellar, and I have a lot of work left on the walls in the main room. So those stairs used to lead to something, now it's blocked. So I think in the end I will use this space as shelves. This is of course temporary. And in here I removed the old floorboards, and I cleaned everything up in here. So this is quite recent also. Also we can see my air intake. Always I try to put them at the cul-de-sac of everything. And we are here in this a bit of annex. I think this part... Okay, I have some water in here. Why? Yeah, I think this part was used to get some coal into the cellar. So here I have access to the street. So right now I'm pushing the air out of the cellar. But at some point there was a chute and coal getting into here. And yeah, so that's the purpose of this room. They keep some the space also underneath the stairs. And yeah, I used this kind of composite floor. So it's a blend of wood fiber and PVC, recycled PVC. And I chose that because of the humidity. I think this won't rot in the future, contrary to wood. and yeah, so I use that in here and in the poop cellar also. So I use this room as my machine room for hosting my big fan. So yeah, this is industrial fan, and I have in here a kind of manifold which I use to get all of my dirty hair, and yeah, it's getting thrown out of the cellar. So I'm getting the air from the crawl space and the under cellar and from the poop cellar. So I have finished the poop cellar and this wall. So I have put some rigid pipes, and I will do that also when I'm done with this wall. I will put some rigid pipes which are much more efficient. And yeah, so when I renovated this part, I've put some holes into the walls so my pipes can go through, and sometimes I will make a door that will be nice in here. So this is yeah, the end of the cellar. So let's take a look at some interesting tidbits. So in here I have my radon sensor, and we can see we are at 222 on a 23-day period, which is good. Also, it's winter, so we have more radon coming out in the winter than in the rest of the year, as far as I know. Let's look at the cellar in a more global manner. So this is my different models I've made throughout the evolution of the cellar. So this is now, and I don't have a very precise model of the poop cellar. I should do one, but we can see, for example, the model of the top of the vault of the poop cellar. I did this model to try to evaluate how many boards I would need to construct my floor in here. Let's look at the cellar in its original state. So this is the first scan I did of the cellar. We have all the original assets, like the wooden stairs. And at this point, I didn't discover the under cellar yet. There is still this beam, and we still have all the sewer in here. And if we overlay the excavation, we can see all the earth I have removed, all the dirt I have removed, and the difference in level also, which led to the floor being like this. So let's look at some dimension. So in the length, the Z dimension, let's call it. So from street to street, we have 15 meters, more or less. Street wall to street wall. In the main chamber, from this wall to the entrance wall, we have 12 meters. And if we look at this wall and the far wall of the poop cellar, we have 17 meters. In width, it's less spacious. At the entrance of the cellar, we have a bit less than 2 meters. At the middle, it's not the largest dimension, but it's a practical one, let's say, 3.2 meters. And in this area, we have 2.6 meters. And if we look at the height, so at the entrance, we have 4.10 meters. In the middle, we drop down to 3.8 meters. At the lower part of the cellar, we have 4.4 meter, and at the highest elevation possible, we have 4.9 meters. And this is a bit of guess, but let's say that the floor of the poop cellar could be 4 meters below the concrete floor, concrete surface. And in here we have a new addition. So this is my automation part of the cellar, and this is what is controlling the lights. For now it's only controlling the light. So I have a router to give me internet. I have put an antenna outside of the box. I have an ESP32, which is a microcontroller which has the logic to control the lights, and this is a relay that controls the lights. I also have a humidity and temperature sensor in here, and I am using home assistant, sorry. So yeah, this is my home automation. So I have the humidity of the cellar, temperature. I know if my trapdoors are open or not, and I can control the light, which is quite useful sometimes. Let's look at my Home Assistant interface in more detail. So right now it's really simple. I only have a few things. I have the sensor for the trapdoor, and I have the action to be able to control the light in the cellar. So the lights are lit and they are shut off. Also, I have a sensor for the humidity and the temperature in the cellar, and I can compare that to the sensor for my area. And let's look at the humidity in more detail. So for this year, so I can look at it and I can see I am almost always a bit under 85. Between 80 and 85, a bit above sometimes. And what's neat is I can look at an overlay with the whole area humidity, and it's quite interesting. It's following it a bit, but it doesn't drop as the outside. That's interesting. So the outside is dropping in here, but in the cellar it's quite stable. And sometimes this is correlated in a way. This is also, but the cellar is really stable compared with the exterior. And I can look at the temperature in the cellar to get an idea of the variations. And it's also quite stable when you look at the scale in here. The most I had was around 13 degrees, and the lowest was 9.3, something like that. And right now it's ramping up a bit. Yeah, so I plan to expand on this automation. I plan to automate as much as I can the ventilation and maybe the dehumidifier. So I think, yeah, the next time I'll update the tool will be when I have a complete workshop, hopefully. And I'm estimating that it will take maybe 2 more years to finish. I have been able to work quite a lot start of this year. I don't know if I will have some more time from work to do that in the future. Yeah, so all in all, it was a great journey from the first tour to this one. A lot of work. I'm proud of the quantity of work I've done on the cellar, not particularly the quality. There have been some difficult times during those 5.5 years, but yeah, working on the Cellar has been a good thing for me. I really do hope that I can finish this project. Yeah, 2 years is a good goal, I think, to achieve. I hope I can keep the momentum I have right now and the motivation. Anyway, thank you for having watched this video, and I'll see you next time.